phasing into retirement is the way to go. Or is it? I've got some pros and cons on this retirement strategy in a couple seconds, but first let me give you some facts on this. Number one, you got to have a flexible employer in order to be able to do this, right? A lot of people don't. I know a couple people that have tried this or tried to enact this strategy, but their employers wouldn't let them do that. So that's the big one. Let's put it, the elephant in the room. Where are you? Get out of the corner. That's the big one. You have to have a flexible employer in a lot of these cases. So what is phasing into retirement? And I got all this from Kiplinger. It's scaling back at work to ease into retirement, according to Kiplinger. Instead of just a hard, abrupt stop of your working life, you can scale back a little bit, your hours, your responsibilities, and kind of ease your way into it. So it's not just such an abrupt change where you wake up one morning going, what am I doing? This is the rest of my life. I don't know if I like this. Some people feel like that. It's gradually reducing hours worked into a more flexible schedule before retirement. That's another definition of it from Kiplinger. Hey guys, are any of you doing this right now? Did any of you do this before you retired? Let me know what your experiences were with it when you did that. So here's some examples of this. Number one, you're reducing hours, right? Instead of like 40, 50 hours a week, you're going down to maybe 20, 25. Now, if your employer is up to this, that can be a really good way to go. Guys, you're still working. Let's say you go in for, instead of a full day, you might have like 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day. Or even better, in my opinion, could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, I'd like that. Number two, job sharing, where you're splitting responsibilities with someone else instead of one person doing that one full job. Now, here is really where you need a understanding employer. It's number three, changing your roles. You could have been a manager before. Let's say you want to cut back to something less demanding. Maybe I don't know, just a regular employee with no employee responsibilities on your plate. That's another way to go about it. Number four, a lot of people do this. Consulting or mentorship. Consulting, if you want to go that way, doesn't matter what your employer says. Now, you could still work for your employer as a consultant, but you can also go out to all different kinds of employers in your field and do this, right? A lot of people do that. I have a couple of friends who have done that as a way, in some cases, not as a way to ease into retirement. They just kind of got forced into it because maybe layoffs or something, okay? Hey, for those of you guys seeing me for the first time, my name is Duane, and this is a retirement channel for retiring on moderate income and how to optimize that moderate income retirement. If you think you might like that, think about subscribing and like the video. And if you really like it, down below are 2 ways to support this channel even more. So, pros and cons. What are they for this strategy? Pros. Obvious one, it's a gradual transition into retirement. It's something that is not as abrupt as it would be if you went from 40, 50 hours a week to nothing. For a lot of people, that can be jarring. It's not something they can just automatically accept. I think a lot of that depends on your age as well. Later in life, you might just be done with working full time, and first day, first week, first month of retirement, you're like, oh my God, this is heaven, right? So you might not even care about phasing into retirement. For those of you that are younger, maybe it might be a good strategy for you, because there's a lot of people that get a lot of benefits out of working, and this way they might be able to figure out what else they can do on their off time. Here's another pro. I've got 6 pros and 3 cons for you. Here's number 2. It prolongs your income/benefits. Again, if you don't want to just stop that weekly check from going to your bank account, or if your employer will still give you your health benefits and everything else with a reduced workload as far as hours go, that's the way to go. I think that might be the best way to go. Number 3, a reduced workload. And I don't know about you guys, but the last, I'd say, 5 years in my working life, my full-time working life, I couldn't do the workload that I used to be able to do. Now, was that age? Was it just because, when I got laid off in the music industry after 20 years, the last 2 or 3 jobs I have were for a couple of years each. I didn't like any of them. Was it because I didn't like my job? Could have been it too. But I know if I could have had a reduced workload, my employers weren't up for that. I think I mentioned it once to one of them, and they're like, no. You're doing your 40, 50 hours a week or you're doing nothing. So that might be a way to go too, reduce workload. I know it would have been heaven for me when I was like 56, 57. Number 4, another pro of phasing into it. It maintains your sense of purpose for a lot of people, and I've mentioned this over and over on this channel. Their working life gives them a sense of identity, a sense of purpose. They're doing something, Not everyone, but a lot of people, and I find it really for more high-powered positions, lawyers, doctors, CEOs. That's their identity, It's like people know them. That's their identity. There's a lot of purpose in that as well. So by just, by reducing the workload, by reducing your hours, at least you're maintaining some of that, if that is what you need in your life. Number 5, this is a big one. It gives you time to plan for your retirement. If you're not really sure about it, guys, phasing into it is a great way to go. If you get to the end of, a year of doing this and you're like, I'm just not ready to retire. Go back to full-time work. Hopefully you're still at the same company and just tell me you changed your mind. Hopefully they didn't bring someone else in to do your position and now they're doing a better job, right? But if that option is still available to you, you can go back to full-time work. For others, it's just they need a little time to figure out what they're going to do in retirement. What's their schedule going to be? For those of you who need a schedule, what's your schedule going to be? Instead of that abrupt stop, figure some things out. Year or two of reduced workload might be able to do that for you. Number 6, impact on your health. According to this article, 1/3 of people in the first 2 years of retirement encounter depression. Yeah, abrupt change, not knowing what they're going to do with their life now. By reducing your workload, reducing your hours, this will help you, again, ease into it, right? Or phase into it. You'll be able to come to grips with this part of your life is changing. It's no longer go, 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 right? It'll be somewhat busy with your reduced workload, and then you can just, through steps, finally go down to nothing. Okay, I'm retired. I'm good. 1 or 2 years of that might make a big difference. So what are the cons of this strategy? Number 1, the obvious one, you won't be making as much money in probably most of the cases, right? Reduced income. This would be a great strategy if you are, 60. You're ready to retire financially, but emotionally, mentally, you're just not ready to go yet. This strategy, you're still bringing some money in, right? A little bit. So it'll give you the time to prepare more for this. And if you're already set financially, why not? Great way to go. So I guess that was a pro/con. Second con, impact on your benefits. A lot of companies need you to work full time in order to give you your full benefits, right? That's just status quo a lot of the time. Oh yeah, you want to work 20 hours instead of 40? Oh yeah, we'll give you your benefits anyway. A lot of times it doesn't work out like that. So if you're thinking about this strategy, make sure you figure that could be like the number 1 thing to figure out before you do this. And number 3, some people let's say you're working Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You're working 4 hours a day. For some people, this causes decreased morale because now they feel disconnected from the workplace. Think about it, guys. During COVID, did some of you feel disconnected? Did you have a lot of friends at the workplace and you were working remote? Yeah, that could be a con of this strategy if you have a lot of friends at work, or you just like socializing with whoever. It gives you an outlet, right? So there's some cons for it, guys. Total individual choice, but it's not always, and it's not for everyone, that this is the right thing to do. Might be for a lot of people, maybe even the majority, but for everyone, no, there are some cons to it. So let me know what you think, guys. Let me know if you're in that situation and what you decided, or if you've done it before. And as always, from the beautiful high desert, we got this.